What's going on, guys? My name is Alex. I am a real estate investor, and this is part two of the $500 duplex. I make these videos to share with you guys the things I'm learning, the challenges I am overcoming, and hopefully you guys can take this information and use it to accelerate your own growth. So let's get into it. So the deal structure, how I got it for $500. So bought this one on a land contract. And a land contract is basically like an installment sale. So let's just say, for number's sake, you could buy a house at $100,000. One way of doing it is just if I show up with $100,000, right? Then I buy it, give them the money, they give me the house, then it's done. Another way of doing it, which is a lot more interesting, is buying it on a land contract or installment sale or seller financing, or different kind of ways of doing it. Where basically, instead of giving them one lump sum, you just create an agreement with them to like a payment structure, and that way you can get really creative and kind of change all the things you're negotiating for too, right? So if it were just a cash sale, that's kind of the one negotiating point, right? Is price. But when you do it on a land contract, right, you can negotiate how much down payment, you can negotiate price, you can negotiate monthly payments, you can negotiate interest rate if you guys are negotiating interest rate, all sorts of things there. So that is definitely an advantage. And in this case, I was able to negotiate a $500 down payment. And the cool thing about this deal is it was rent ready. Like I didn't need to do hardly any renovation. And honestly, by the time the previous owner transferred me the security deposits, like I walked away with more money from the closing table than I came to it. So that was pretty cool. A lot of people do ask me all the time, like, why are these people ever willing to do this deal with you? Like, why would they not just want cash? And a lot of people do want cash, but I guess two reasons why someone would do a deal like this. It's always one, you have to solve a problem, and two, you have to make a friend. So if you want seller finance deals, if you want land contracts, if you want creative stuff like that, definitely have to solve a problem, and you definitely have to make a friend. So solve a problem. A lot of these people that I'm currently talking to are tired landlords. These people care a lot about not just throwing all their money away to taxes. That is a big advantage too of land contracts and seller finance. They're able to spread out their tax burden over time and reduce it pretty significantly. So that is a big driving force. Purchase price too. Like if I can negotiate really good terms on my end, like I can pay way more money too. So a lot of the times they have a one of their pain points is like I have this purchase price in mind. I'm not going below it. Take or leave it kind of thing. So a lot of the times, if I'm able to get terms that work for me, I can definitely come up on the purchase price. And like I said too, a lot of these people are tired landlords. They don't want to manage it anymore, but maybe they like the income. So we're able to work something out there where they still get the income. They don't have to be a landlord anymore. And then you definitely got to make a friend as well. So my friend Caroline Kane always says friends get deals and everyone else gets retail. So it's super important to build a connection with these people and show them that you're credible and become their friend. And like I said, it's going to take at least 13 touches. So become their friend, show them you're credible, and that's they're not going to do this deal with someone who's an absolute stranger and they don't trust and they think you're going to default on the loan and all that crazy nonsense. So you have to take the time, build that relationship, and show them that you are not going to do that. So underwriting creative deals is, I mean, a little bit more difficult, but I actually wouldn't say that. It's just a little bit different than regular cash deals. You still want to make sure that it cash flows and do not forget to include maintenance, management, vacancy, capital expenditures. So even if you're the one managing it, pay that 10% to yourself. Maintenance, obviously, stuff is going to break, the toilet's going to overflow, a tenant's going to knock a hole in the wall or something like that. Vacancy, so there is going to be a time when the tenant moves out and you're going to have to come in and clean it up and re-rent it, and you might miss a month's rent. So definitely account for that. And capital expenditures, the roof is going to go out eventually, the furnace is going to go out eventually, the water heater, that big ticket stuff. So make sure you're saving a little bit of money every single month, being ready for that stuff. And then the other thing with creative deals, you have to account for the balloon. So This is just a seller finance calculator I have that I use a lot to see. I want to know, like, let's say there's a balloon in 10 years, right? I need to know exactly how much equity I'm going to have in the property at that time. So I can't get caught in a situation where I still owe $100,000 and a bank will only refinance me 80,000, right? I need to be in a position where I have plenty of equity. So at that balloon, I can either just, if I have to sell it, sure, I can sell it, or I can just, which is more likely, go to a bank and say, hey, will you guys give me 75% of the value of this house? And they say yes. And then from there, I don't need any money or anything like that. A bank just comes and gives me the rest of the money. And also, if you're going to do that with the bank financing, you want to make sure that it still cash flows at that interest rate that the bank is going to give you at that time. So that's a little bit of a question mark because you can't predict the future with interest rates and stuff, but just be conservative there. So the exit strategy I had here, kind of like a burr. So if you guys are familiar with the burr strategy, where basically you buy a fixer house, you fix it up, you rent it out, and then you refinance it. And after you have fixed it up and rented it out, the value of that house goes up significantly. So when you refinance it, the lender is going to give you, let's say, roughly 75% of the value of the house, which you just increased a lot. So what a lot of people do is they buy a house cheap, with cash or hard money or something like that, renovate it, and then they go to pull out 75% of the value. A lot of times they can get all that money out tax free. So that's super cool. And then they use that money to go do their next one. And it's a pretty cool cycle. The cool thing with creative financing is you can get into these deals with low or no money. So basically, you can do the same strategy except for supercharge it because you don't need that initial chunk of money and you don't have to wait for it to get refinanced out. You can come in here and get these deals started with little or no money. So, like I said, making it into a long-term rental. This is just a buy and hold property. Buy and holds are great for creating wealth. Flips are great for making money, but the real wealth creation is in the long-term buy and holds. So, and then just I am currently managing it, building out my property management systems and stuff like that in Dubuque to hopefully save myself a little bit of money there. So lessons learned. Again, this is another off-market deal. This is where most of my opportunities are coming from right now. There are definitely still deals on market, but right now most of my stuff is off market. So continuing to pursue stuff like that. Another thing that is super important and a lesson I always learned is the power of relationships. So this one would definitely never have happened if I did not have a relationship with this seller. Spent a bunch of time with them, bunch of phone calls. I've been in their kitchen, sat down with them at the kitchen table. Um, we are friends. We know each other, like each other, trust each other. So another thing you have to know is you have to follow up. So this is not going to happen on the first phone call. This is going to be 10, 15, 20, 30 phone calls with this person. Like I said, you're going to spend a ton of time with them. You have to follow up. The fortune is in the follow up. So remember that. And it's just another mindset shift. So you definitely don't need money to buy real estate. You need effort. So that is a limiting belief I definitely had a couple of years ago. But the more I do stuff like this, the bigger body of evidence I build and prove to myself that you definitely don't need money to buy real estate. That just compounds on itself, and it's another lesson learned. So let me know what you guys want to see more of. If there's something you want to get a deeper dive on, I could definitely do more stuff about pulling lists or skip tracing or off market stuff. I can do more deal deep dives. Yeah, just let me know.